Today's Spotlight is brought to you in part by presenting sponsor, First Community Financial Bank, the community bank where you come first. If you're just tuning in, you're watching Spotlight. I'm your host, Jane Wernette, and with me now representing the Naperville-Noon-Lions Club are Dr. Stephen Hertzberg, President, and Dr. Catherine Hertzberg Mathews, who is a club member, a local optometrist, and your daughter. So that's exciting.
Comes in handy.
Yes, very nice.
Thank you for having us today.
We are so pleased to have you. And I'm going to start out with you, Stephen. Tell us a little bit about the history of the club and how you got involved.
Well, Lions Clubs came to be in 1917 in Chicago, by the way.
Okay.
100 years ago. This is our centennial year. The thrust of Lions Clubs is to serve those that have blind issues, hearing difficulties, and diabetes.
Okay.
They've been the Knights of the Blind since Helen Keller came up with that back in the 1920s. Our club has been here since 1948, so we have just had our 68th anniversary. We have been serving the community of Naperville for a very good long time, and I've been with the club now since 1976.
Wow.
After getting out of the Navy back in 1974, I went back to school to become an orthodontist and set up my practice here in Naperville in 1976. My father at the time was the president of the Lions Club.
Okay, this is having a familiar ring to it.
And he said, of course you're going to join the Lions Club, isn't that great? In point of fact, I joined the club in 1976. And I have had every job in the club since day one, except the treasurer. I was the president in 1988, and I'm the president again this year, too.
I like that. I like that.
And there have been a lot of changes in the Lions Club in the last 40 years.
Tell us about some of those. What's different?
Back in the 1970s and 80s, we had 90 members. And we raised a total back in those days of maybe $15,000. Our membership now is down to 44. Even though Naperville is 5 times bigger now than it was back then, we're probably going to raise over $200,000 this year.
Wow.
And we give it all away to all of our
wonderful.
charities. Most of the money stays right here in Naperville.
That's incredible. And you need more people, but you are raising an awful lot of money. That's terrific.
We work very hard at what we do, and we're very dedicated to what we do.
That's great. That's great. Okay, so you obviously, his dad got him involved. He got you involved. But talk a little bit about that. You know, you're a young professional. How did you get engaged?
You know, as a family member of Lions Clubs, I've always been very, very involved. They've always been very much encouraged to have family and get involved with a lot of the different activities that they do. So even before I even started grade school, I've been going to different facility visits, like touring the leader dog training facility where we had donated money, as well as helping with corn at the Naperville Last Fling. And then when I was in high school and college, I was so regularly involved in so many of the different fundraising activities. In 2001, they made me an honorary member.
Oh, nice.
Then once I finished school and I settled down in the area and started practicing, I became an official active member. So they've just been wonderful about making sure that families are involved and really doing a great job of making sure we invite participants from all different walks of life to get involved in what we're doing.
That's wonderful. Now, you're an optometrist. You're an orthodontist. I feel like everybody's covered in your family. That's a good thing. But you're an optometrist. Now, that obviously has a connection to the Lions Club and the mission and the work that they do. Talk a little bit about that.
You know, back in 1925, Helen Keller addressed Lions Club International at their international convention and challenged the Lions to become the Knights of the Blind in the crusade against blindness. So the Lions Club has always been very dedicated in providing resources for people who are visually impaired. So having a personal passion to help people see clearly and maintain good vision, it just works so well, and it's such a privilege to be part of such an organization that does such a great job about providing those resources for so much of the community.
That's wonderful, and a very nice synergy there. Now, you're involved with Reid, the Early Childhood Center, and that's an interesting in what you're offering, and I know that program's evolved. So talk a little bit about that program.
Back in 2007, Illinois passed a law where all kindergartners now have to have an eye exam. And for years, the 3 major optometrists in our club, Dr. Alan Notek, myself, and Dr. Richard Butts, were doing a lot of these exams in our offices. But we found that it was between transportation issues and scheduling issues, it was really hard for a lot of these families to come into the office. So back in 2012, we started providing our own equipment, and we actually do between 30 and 50 eye exams for preschoolers at the Reid Early Childhood Center every spring to accommodate for those kids that need to have those eye exams.
That's great. That's what a great service. What a lovely extension of what you're doing as a club. So that's really, I'm sure they're very grateful.
Oh, very much so.
Yes, because that's important, because if you can't see well, then you
Exactly.
can't learn well. It's just, it kind of goes hand in hand.
And about 25% of the kids that we see do need follow-up care, whether it's additional treatment or glasses or anything like that. So it's great to have those kids being seen and evaluated early.
Yeah, that's always the key, an ounce of prevention, right? Stephen, talk a little bit. You mentioned over $200,000 raised now. Give me a quick highlight of the fundraisers that you do and how that money is dispersed in the community.
We have 4 major fundraisers every year. Turkey Trot is coming up on Thanksgiving morning. We expect to have between 7,500 and 8,000 runners going down the streets of Naperville.
That's always fun. Always fun. We're there. It's always fun.
It's a metered, sanctioned race. It's time chipped. It's everything. It's professionally done. It will generate an awful lot of money for us. We also sell funnel cakes every year at Ribfest. We've been at Ribfest every year since the very first year.
Wonderful.
We have a raffle, a cash raffle every summer. We also do candy day sales. In the street corners, we give away candy for thank yous. We get donations from people, and people have been very generous to this end. And we'll raise between $200,000 and $250,000 and give it all away.
Okay.
Just a quick example. We do social services work, and we will pay for eye exams, eye surgeries, contact lenses for all the kids in districts 203 and 204. And last year and the last 3 years, we looked at the numbers. 1,250 people were helped at a cost of over $300,000.
That's incredible.
All that money stays right here in town.
You are really helping locally. You're raising locally and helping locally.
Absolutely.
It's a wonderful thing.
Absolutely.
Now we're going to close because you mentioned at the top of your interview that it's 100 years, which is super exciting.
Absolutely.
A centennial is always a good reason to celebrate. You've got a few things planned with that. How are you connecting in with Chicago?
There are, in the world, over 1.4 million Lions members. It's the largest service organization there is. They are expecting 40 to 50,000 Lions clubs, international people, to come to the city of Chicago in June of 2017. And locally, our District 1J group is having all of the Lions clubs in the area volunteering to provide support, because we're going to have to entertain 40 to 50,000 international Lions, and we're looking forward to helping out.
And I'm pretty sure between the two of you, you'll be great hosts, absolutely great
We'll
hosts.
be there.
So we wish you all the best. We thank you so much for coming by the station and telling us a little bit more about the Naperville Noon Lions Club.
Jane, thank you very much for having us.
Oh, it's
Thank
been
you so
great.
much.
So if you would like to learn more about becoming a member of the Naperville Noon Lions Club and getting ready for their centennial celebration, please visit their website. We're going to take a quick break for a few short messages, but don't go away. We're coming right back with more Spotlight.